What's happening, my Jack family? Coach Scott here, jacked40.com and shreddedafter40.com. Welcome to another episode of the Jacked After 40 podcast. Today we're going to talk about the best advice to get lean and stay lean after 40, which is to do more of the things that make you feel your absolute best. And what makes this the best advice to get lean and stay lean after 40 is that it forces you to look inwards, to have a heightened sense of awareness towards all that you're doing throughout the day and how it's impacting you, how it's making you feel. And this is a great way to break free from the overwhelm and the confusion that you see out there in regards to the best fat burning workouts, the best fat loss diet plan, the best supplements to boost your metabolism. You kind of block out those distractions. You're focused on your actions and how those actions are impacting how you're performing, how you're feeling, your mood, your zest for life, your vitality. Now, when it comes to your diet, 99% of the time, you're gonna feel your absolute best when you're eating to the point of satisfaction, providing your body with an adequate amount of nutrients to fuel your lifestyle, to perform your best in the gym and outside of the gym, compared to overeating, where oftentimes in that situation, you're gonna feel uncomfortable, you're gonna feel stuffed, you're gonna feel bloated, you're gonna feel lethargic, you may experience some acid reflux, you may have interrupted sleep. There's just so many different aspects of overeating that just feel really uncomfortable. Certainly, even if you don't feel terrible, you're not going to feel your absolute best compared to eating to the point of satisfaction. Now, that 1% of the time, we're talking about like Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, where it's a family gathering, you're with friends, you're foods that you don't typically consume. It's okay in those situations to overeat a bit. It doesn't give you a free pass to stuff yourself silly so you feel absolutely terrible, but it's okay to eat a bit in excess during those situations. Just enjoy the company that you have, enjoy the event, enjoy the situation that you're in right there, and make the absolute most out of it, because food is a part of that comfort. It does make us feel good in those moments, but again, making sure they're eating to the point of just being a little bit overfull, overeating a little bit and not to the point where you're just absolutely gluttonous. Now, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you know that I am big on flexible dieting, being able to work in all of my favorite treats, all of my favorite food into my calorie targets for the day or for the week, whether it's to get lean or to stay lean after 40. The thing is, I have a very heightened sense of awareness for how each of those foods make me feel, and I try my best not to eat those foods in excess, but even when I eat those foods in responsible portion size, if I have a slice of cheesecake, it tastes absolutely phenomenal. It makes me feel great. It's a fantastic emotional experience both from the taste buds, just flashbacks of memories, childhood memories and all that stuff. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. But that food, that cheesecake, doesn't necessarily make me feel my best overall. It's not, when you compare the calories in that cheesecake, first of all, might sit in my stomach a little bit more compared to another meal that I may have. But if you compare it to more of a nutrient-rich meal, it's not going to provide me with the same kind of energy, the same kind of fuel to perform my best throughout the day. Yeah, it's gonna have the same amount of calories, but it's not loaded with micronutrients that are going to allow my body to function at its absolute best. Don't get me wrong here, like we're striking a balance, a combination. It's not just like looking at food as fuel and solely as food for performance and all that. You want to incorporate your favorite treats like that. You want to include the cheesecake because, like I said, it's a fantastic experience. I do feel great when I'm eating that cheesecake. I just know that if I was to have that every single day, I wouldn't be performing my best all of the time. It would kind of slow me down a little bit. Whereas I'm having it once in a while, if I have a cheesecake once a week even, it's fine, especially if I'm still hitting my calorie targets throughout the week, for the calorie target for the week. It's gonna be more than fine to consume that cheesecake or even consume that cheesecake and the chips. But I just find, like, there's no question about it. Like after losing the 50 pounds 10 years ago, I was mainly like an 80% nutrient-rich whole natural foods, 20% favorite treats and junk food, if you wanna call it that. Nowadays, I'm more along the lines of 95% whole natural nutrient rich foods and 5% my favorite treats and junk food, if you want to call it that, cheat meals, cheat days, whatever you want to label it. It's just foods that I don't typically have all the time. And the big reason for that shift isn't because I'm putting myself on some pedestal or anything like that. It's because I have just learned, my body, the more you consume the whole natural nutrient rich foods, the more you crave those foods because your body knows what it's experiencing when you're having that. It just feels its best. Your body feels phenomenal when you're consuming whole natural nutrient rich food, so it wants more of it. The more junk food you're consuming, it just knows it's like sugar rush, I crash, need more sugar in me. So I mean, it's great to, once you start breaking free from that cycle, and it can be a gradual thing. I mean, it took me, again, 10 years to get to this point of 80% to 95%, which may not seem like a drastic difference, but it's a fair amount of calories that are coming from nutrient-rich foods. And I'm consuming way more veggies than I ever did. I'm getting way more micronutrients in my diet than ever before. Really paying attention to fiber intake and just how all of those different foods are making me feel. And even at that point, when you're consuming whole, natural, nutrient-rich foods, you really got to be aware to how those foods are impacting you as well, because there's some of my fellow men over 40 who have been including more and more vegetables in their diet, and those are starting to make them feel really bloated and really gassy and really uncomfortable. So you really got to strike that, you got to have that heightened sense of awareness for the amount of veggies, the amount of fiber in your diet that makes you, again, feel your best. Because if you're feeling full and bloated from the veggies, that's going to slow you down as well. Even though it's loaded with the micronutrients, it can slow you down. You want to avoid anything that's going to bog you down throughout the day. Again, you want to be a high performance machine. So it really does help. This is kind of one of those situations where tracking your intake for the short duration, whether it's 4 weeks, 8 weeks, getting a good idea of your typical macronutrient breakdown, even micronutrient breakdown, the typical foods that you eat, and how that makes you feel. Because if you look at your data for the week, maybe in a couple of weeks, you'll likely find that your macronutrients fall into a ballpark range. Like for me personally, just my natural eating tendencies fall into a 45% carbohydrates, 30% protein, 25% fat. That just, my natural normal way of eating is where it typically falls. Now, if I was to go a week where I really bump up my protein intake, I can pay attention to how that bump up impacted my energy levels, how it impacted maybe my weight or my body fat percentage, how it impacted my performance in the gym, how it impacted my digestive system. Did it have an impact on my sleep? So that's the only change, is that you're maybe reducing your carbs a little bit, bumping up the protein. You can see how that one change impacts you and how you perform, how you feel. Does it help you feel any better than your kind of natural macronutrient ratio, ballpark that you fall into? Now, clearly, we are not going to feel our best and perform our best when we're in a calorie deficit trying to get lean after 40. But what you want to do, so you're not trying to compare that to, well, if I just eat at maintenance, if I'm eating to the point of satisfaction, I'm going to feel better. Now, you can't compare that. You get your goal. You know that you're going to feel better physically, mentally, emotionally, confidence, all that stuff if you drop, say, 15, 20 pounds of fat. So you know in the big picture, it's kind of that delayed feeling better experience there. So you're temporarily not going to feel your best energy-wise and performance-wise, but you know the payoff is down the road. But in that situation, you're going to compare it to another diet, like a fad diet that is going to restrict certain macronutrients, or it's going to be way too aggressive with the calorie deficit. You want to do what you can to feel your best with that calorie deficit. A lot of times it's going to come down to, once again, consuming whole, natural, nutrient-rich foods that are higher in food volume, that are going to fill you up and provide you with an adequate amount of, again, micronutrients, macronutrients to feel your best and perform your best. So if you are in a calorie deficit trying to get lean after 40, and you're trying to work in all of your favorite treats in there every single day, and they're taking up 25, 30, 40, 50% of your calories for the day, you're not going to perform your best. Like, the more treats you are including in your meal plan each and every day, the greater the chance that you're not going to meet your micronutrient needs throughout the day. So really important if you want to perform your best while in a calorie deficit, that you try to consume as much whole, natural, nutrient-rich foods as you possibly can. A great example from my past experiences is this past mini cut in January, where for 4 weeks I ate nothing but whole, natural, nutrient-rich foods. Now that was not intentional. I went into this with the plan that if I wanted to have one of my favorite treats, I was going to have it, and I was going to work it into my calorie target for the day. But I was also thinking, I'm just going to go as long as I can without including my favorite treats, junk food, cheat meals, cheat days, or whatever. And what happened, just the longer, after 1 week, I'm like, you know what, I'm fine. It was just after the holidays, so I had enough of the junk food already. I didn't want any of my favorite treats, so it was good timing with that. Second week, after that, I'm like, man, you know, I just don't feel it, and I'm feeling freaking awesome. Like, during that 4 week mini cut there, I kept my calories consistent, 2,000 to 2,100 calories a day. My energy was sustained. I was hitting personal best week after week, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I've not experienced that during any mini cut or any kind of fat loss phase in the past, because I would have some high calorie days, like maybe a cheat day where I'd go above maintenance level calories, and I'd have to reduce my calories, make a greater calorie deficit to kind of make up for that higher calorie day there. And other times where I was including treats every single day and working those in there, I just didn't feel, even though the calorie target was roughly the same, it just wasn't providing me with the same kind of energy, the same kind of fuel that I was experiencing with this whole, natural, nutrient-rich diet. So that January mini cut, the 4 week shredded after 40 4-week mini cut course, absolutely freaking phenomenal. Probably the best experience I've ever had when it's come to fat loss. And again, it also comes with experience. I have gone through many mini cuts in the past, knowing what to expect, coming off the holidays where I really didn't want to have any treats. It's just like ideal conditions. We had a lockdown here, so I couldn't even, there's no temptations for me whatsoever at all. So all of those things come into play, come into factor, and those are things that you have to be aware of. So if you do have to diet down the road again, and it's not going as smooth as possible, like, why can't it be as good as it was the last time? It was so easy for me before. Well, before, the conditions may have been a million times better for you. It was like more ideal to go through a fat loss experience at the time. So having those kinds of heightened senses of awareness are absolutely key for your mental health and well-being during a fat loss phase as well. Now let's move on to sleep, which is the most important aspect of your lifestyle that you need to have a heightened sense of awareness towards when it comes to feeling your absolute best. Now, for me personally, I can get by with 6.5 hours of sleep. Maybe for a few days. I could probably continue it forever, but I am certainly not going to feel my best, perform my best. Actually, last night, I only got about 6 hours of sleep. Played hockey late at night, had to get up earlier in the morning. I'm getting through my day just fine. I'm recording this video. I feel like I've got a fair amount of energy here. My eyes are burning a little bit. They're feeling a little bit heavy. I got in a good workout in the gym today, but it certainly wasn't my best workout. I didn't quite have the strength. I didn't quite have the endurance, but I still had a great workout. Like, everything was good. I was really happy with how my day has gone so far up to this point. Certainly not my very best. When you compare it to when I'm consistently getting 8.5 hours, 8.5 hours is definitely my sweet spot. If I get a few days in a row of 8.5 hours sleep, I am the most high performance machine you will ever see out there. Just, my mood is crazy elevated. Like, you think I am positive, happy-go-lucky, animated with 6 hours sleep that I've got right now? With 8.5 hours of sleep in me consistently, oh my freaking God, I feel like I can climb mountains and take on the world. But I feel incredible. Especially like my mood is incredibly elevated. My performance in the gym is through the roof. I just have this incredible outlook towards life. My passion, my purpose is just amplified. And when it comes to like 6 hours of sleep, I know I definitely feel my appetite is up today. And it's not because I've been in a calorie deficit or anything. It's not because I was moving around anymore. It's just when I don't sleep as much, my appetite increases. When I am getting an adequate amount of sleep, my appetite appears to be much more regulated. So there's just so many different factors involved in getting an adequate amount of sleep. Now, I'm very fortunate. My lifestyle, my work schedule, I got adult children right now. I'm living on my own. It's so much easier for me to get 8.5 hours of sleep compared to some of my fellow men over 40 who may be working 12-hour shifts all the time, maybe even 15-hour shifts, and they got young kids, young families. So it's really tough. I encourage you with every ounce of my being to make sleep a top priority for yourself, to try to get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep each and every day. I encourage you, if you have the opportunity to get more than 7 hours of sleep, to do that. I'm telling you, nothing will have a bigger impact on your fat loss, on your muscle building, on your mood, on your overall life, your health, your well-being, physical health, and mental health than sleep. So you really got to evaluate your lifestyle. Why is it that you're not getting an adequate amount of sleep? You're not getting 8 hours of sleep each and every night. Is it because you're staying up watching TV? Now, what can you do instead of that? If you have a partner, a spouse living with you, and what can you do to kind of wind down a little bit earlier and make sleep a priority for the both of you? Because you're both going to feel so much better if you make sleep a top priority, but still making sure that you have that quality time together at the end of the day to really connect on a deep emotional level before just, all right, my day's done, let's go to bed. You want to still like have that time together so you feel complete. Again, this is all about living your life to the fullest. It's everything you're doing is meant to enhance your life. So you don't want any of these things to be taken away from your life. You don't want to be like just thinking like, I gotta get to sleep because I gotta keep my male hormone health in check. I gotta keep my testosterone levels up. No, it's so much more to it. Memory. I mean, these are things that are gonna pay, especially if you are with a partner. Like getting at least 7 hours of sleep is going to help prevent memory loss. It's going to help prevent diseases like dementia, Parkinson's. So this, if you're a couple, like you got to think of like long term down the road. This is not just about connecting in this moment, doing what's best for you right now, feeling your best right now, but this is like long term down the road. So I can't encourage you enough to make sleep the #1 priority in your life. And again, individual situations, I know it's going to be incredibly tough, but if there are little things that you can do in your life, like how are you distracting yourself at night? Are you just wasting time at night? Is it actually enhancing your life, like allowing you to feel your best sitting on your butt watching TV, not moving at all? Could you get out, wind down with your partner, going out for a walk to kind of wind down, maybe do a little massage before you go to bed to help you wind down, loosen up, all that stuff, and then get a great night's sleep afterwards. So really, all those things, your nighttime routine should help you, again, it's all about feeling your best. And now moving on to your workouts, are you performing your training sessions in a way that is allowing you to feel your best? Are you performing workouts that are beating you down? Whether it's like these metabolic resistance training sessions where you're like bouncing around from exercise to exercise, you're working up great sweat, which makes you think that you're burning more fat, but your joints are taking a freaking beating. Or maybe you read an article that deadlifts is the absolute best exercise. It's so metabolically demanding. Yet you're doing deadlifts and your freaking back is killing you and you're just not experiencing any kind of reward from that experience. Maybe just your workout structure in general is setting you up for feeling beat down again. They're not doing any kind of workup sets, you're not doing any kind of warm-ups, you're not working in any kind of mobility in there, and you're crushing your body workout after workout. It's all about training to failure, pushing beyond failure, having your workout partner forcing out reps on every set. So doing things that are, again, it may feel like you're pushing it hard in the moment, but you're just hobbling out of the gym feeling beat up afterwards. That's not a great feeling at all. That's not you feeling your best. You want to walk out of that gym knowing that you gave your absolute best effort, but you're walking out of there feeling empowered and feeling proud, a huge sense of success and victory. You don't want to feel defeated walking out of the gym because you didn't hit this personal best that you're trying to hit. Personal best is just forcing yourself to add load to the bar, and just putting your joints under extreme strain because you're just not quite there. You're forcing that growth when it's just not there in you. So making sure that you're structuring your workouts in a way that are going to allow you to feel your best. I really love the strategies that we're using, the punish and prod approach with the Jacked After 40 Club, where we begin our workouts with typically an isolation exercise that's higher repetition, enhances that mind-muscle connection, gets the blood flowing to the target muscle, and just really it's a great way of loosening up before we get into the bigger compound movements, and we're primed for those movements at that point. And then taking a last set, best set approach where we're not crushing every set. We're leaving a rep or two in the tank for those first couple of sets, and then the last set we give our absolute best effort, still to the point of momentary muscular failure, not forcing anything out. When we do go beyond momentary muscular failure, we're doing it in a safe, effective manner. We're still using good quality form. We're incorporating some advanced training techniques like drop sets, extended rest pause sets, maybe some mechanical advantage supersets, some different techniques that are safe, that allow us to really challenge ourselves, but in a safe manner that's not going to increase the risk of injury or beat us down in any way, shape, or form. More than anything, it just adds the fun factor to the training session. So the big take-home message of this week's Jack to 40 podcast is that if you're going through your day with a heightened sense of awareness, really being mindful of doing the things that are going to allow you to feel your best. If you're eating to that point of satisfaction, if you're trying to stay lean after 40, if you're eating in a calorie deficit, but eating nutrient-rich foods that allow you to perform your best and feel your best while in that deficit, if you're getting an adequate amount of sleep each and every day, you're doing all the things, doing workouts that are allowing you to walk out of the gym feeling victorious, your goals are going to take care of themselves. And the big thing is that this is what long-term success is all about. This is the key to long-term happiness throughout this entire journey. The whole point should be feeling your best, doing the things throughout your day that make you feel freaking awesome. So doing those things will allow you, the goals will take care of themselves. So don't get caught up in all of the noise, all of the minutia out there, the overwhelm, the confusion, what diet is best, what workout is best. The thing is to have a heightened sense of awareness for yourself. You're sure you can experiment with different things, try them out, but really have that heightened sense of awareness. Is this making me feel better? And being honest with yourself. Don't think about, all right, this worked great for someone else. They're feeling their best on it. We are all different. So it's really important for you to, if you're going to experiment with different approaches that may have worked for other people, to have a heightened sense of awareness yourself. Is this actually working for me, or am I being kind of influenced by how well it worked for someone else? They said they're feeling good from this approach, but I'm kind of not experiencing those same kind of feelings myself. Maybe I should get back to what I was doing before, maybe try something a little bit different in order to see if I can feel even better than I am right now. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Jacked After 40 podcast. If you did, please do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. If you know a fellow bro who'd benefit from listening to today's podcast, please do me a favor and share it with them. More than anything, I'd love to hear from you down in the comment section below. Share your thoughts, share your insights, share your feedback, share your own personal experiences. I would love to hear from you. And before you go, don't forget to download your free guide, Jacked After 40. Have yourself an amazing day. Catch you in the next podcast.